I am your hostess, Dr. Raquel Muller, the Mompreneur Success Specialist, and I am here to bring you some more of my passion and wisdom in the hopes of serving you. I shared on Tuesday that I was going to be talking today on Thrive Thursday about the funk. You know what I'm talking about. How many of y'all have been in the funk? Have you ever had those moments? If you recognize that, put it in the comments that yes, or me, or yes, I've been there. Something to let me know that you've been in the funk before. I know shared recently that I have just recently been in a funk myself. And I think that there are so many circumstances that could lead to that, to us being in a funk, right? I think that it's, especially this past year, we have gone through so much. And in fact, I think that going to that place of darkness, a place of irritation, a place of discouragement or feeling hopeless, being in the victim position, I think this is all part of the way that we are wired. That we're wired to, biologically speaking, to look for danger, for anything that could be potentially harming to us physically or emotionally, to us or to somebody that we care about. So that has allowed us to actually survive for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years, in fact, right? And so, let's not knock it. I think this is part of what has allowed us to survive. And yet, we also know that at this particular point in our evolution, that we don't need to protect ourselves from that. The dangers that used to be there, many hundreds of years ago, immediate dangers to our safety, are not there. And even the dangers that are present now are more of a psychological nature. However, there is a way that we can handle those dangers in order that we can reassure ourselves that we are safe and actually move beyond just surviving and into thriving mode, which incidentally, of course, is the name of our program, right? Thrive Thursday. And we also know that, you've heard me talk a lot about expanding ourselves, growing ourselves into a fuller version of ourselves so that we can do more, have more, and be more. And so in order to do that, we have to move to transform into, somebody who thinks differently. Not to say that the funk doesn't happen, right? It will still happen. However, the idea is to have those moments happen less and last less time. So that's what I'm finding in my experience, that as I continue to do my own personal development work, I'm able to get out of a funk a lot quicker. And that is my hope for you as well. And notice that when you are in a funk, how that affects the people around you, including your kids and your spouse. We know that the energy that we bring is contagious. So we can bring negative energy, funky energy, or we can bring positive energy. And I would imagine that you would prefer to bring the latter, right? And again, when we are in that more expansive energy, we have access to different kinds of ideas, creativity, progress, growth, and we can bring more of our gifts to the world, which is why I think it's so important to learn ways to get out of the funk. And so today, my desire is to share with you my 6 steps that I use to get me out of a funk. And interestingly, that had not really become clear to me until just recently when I was in a funk, right? And I was like, well, how did I get out of that? What is it that I did? And how can I share this with my women in my community, my mompreneurs? So if you are ready to hear about the 6 steps to get out of a funk quickly, put some comments in the chat. Put ready in the chat. Here we go. And if you are watching the replay, be sure to put the hashtag replay and do comment that you are ready to go. So here we go. I'm going to share my 6 steps to get out of a funk quickly. And if you don't have paper and pencil or pen, You might want to go grab some so that you can take note of these. And my idea actually is I'm going to take these steps and put them on my vision board in front of me, that I can see them when I need to refer to them more quickly, right? Okay, so the first step is to start with compassion, self-compassion. We know that we tend to be so hard on ourselves sometimes, right? So when I talk about self-compassion, first of all, is don't run away from the feelings. Meaning, acknowledge what is going on, acknowledge what you feel, cry it out, yell, punch a pillow, feel the feelings, because we have feelings for a reason, right? So allow yourself to experience whatever pain it is. And even something that I, do is I take and I write out all of the crazy, ugly thoughts that are floating around in my head. I write that stuff down. Nobody has to see it, and you can just pour everything onto there, and once you're done with that, you can throw it away or burn it or whatever. But do allow those feelings and those thoughts to come to the surface. Throw yourself a really good pity party. We are all entitled to that. Okay? And give yourself some kindness, I know that it's hard. Yes, that was so unfair, or I know you're in pain, or how dare so and so do, such and such, right? Like, let it rip. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is part of the self-compassion. Allow what you feel and what you're thinking, okay? So that's step number one. Step number two is, once you've done that, recognize that you do not have to stay in that place. That you do not have to be a victim in your own circumstances. That you have the ability to create your own experience. And so ask yourself, how is it that I actually want to feel instead of this that I'm feeling now? What is it that I want to believe that's different from what's going on in my head right now, right? How can I shift this experience to a different set of feelings and a different set of thoughts and beliefs? So that's the next step. So, think about that you have the ability to change that experience. But we're all this far away from going into victim mode, right? When we go into that pity party, that is where we're at, is the victim mode. And we all have the ability to go there. Like, just, one thing that could happen and it could put us in that place. But again, it's recognizing, I don't have to stay here, and pulling yourself out of it. But first, with self-compassion, as I mentioned, okay? So step number one, self-compassion. Step number two, recognize that you don't have to stay there, and think about how you want to feel and think instead. Step number three is gratitude, okay? And gratitude for all the amazing things that you have going for you, all the things that actually are working well, that the things that you can be proud of, that you have created, right? And like, actually really feel it as deeply as you can. Breathe it in. And this would be a great time to take some deep breaths. We know that deep breaths are one of the fastest ways to help us calm down and get grounded, get centered, get reconnected to ourselves. So it might even help to put your hand on your heart so that you can really feel the gratitude. And I'll tell you something else about gratitude. It is medicine, first of all. But the other thing that I want to share is that we can feel grateful even for the challenge that we're facing, even for the hard stuff that comes our way. Because the hard experiences that we go through, the challenges that we go through, are the thing that helps us to grow even more, right? Think of it as, my mentor always says that whatever is happening in your life is the curriculum of your evolution. That it is the curriculum of your evolution, meaning that these are the lessons that the universe, that God is putting in front of you so that you can learn something from it, right? This is what you're supposed to learn something and get some kind of growth from it. So what is the growth that can happen there? And again, being grateful for what currently is, So that was step number 3. And then step number 4 is to return to your vision. You've heard me talk about vision a lot. That's basically having your desire, your dream, in a more concrete form about the results that you want to have in your family, in your health, in your work, in your financial situation, and in your time situation. So it's connecting to that vision again. And oftentimes in this particular step, I actually talk to my future self, which is something that I would recommend. Because you know what? That future self, that woman who created what you are desiring to have right now, that woman for whom everything worked out, she knows stuff that you in this moment of funkiness cannot recognize and don't have access to. But if you frame it that way, that you're talking to your future self, right? She's more evolved, she's grown, she's gone through all the stuff that you've gone through, and she's grown from it, she's evolved, right? What is it that that woman knows that you currently do not? And you will be surprised the wisdom that just pours out of you, because this is all ultimately coming from you. And that's the beauty of it. So you can connect with that person and connect to that vision and have that help you, come out of the funk, especially when you engage the next step, which is asking yourself, what can I do where I am with what I have? I'm going to repeat that. What can I do where I am with what I have? Right? So what are some action steps that you can start to take in order to resolve whatever the issue is, whatever the stuckness is, whatever the problem is? What are some things you can do right now? Okay? And just, it all starts with just one step. Okay, so identify one step. But once you connect to the vision and once you start connecting with that future self, the step will become clearer. That's why I want you to do that. So what can I do where I am with what I have? And then number 6 is to seek support, especially if you're still feeling like, okay, I've gone through all of these steps and I'm still, feeling like I'm in that, funky place. Especially if you're in that situation, I would say seek out support from like-minded people who've got your back, who understand what you're going through, who are maybe able to offer a different perspective for you to think about. They may have different ideas, and they're also able to offer you encouragement, to let you know that you're not alone, to let you know that you are cared about and that your dream is possible, right? To help you believe again, right? And sometimes we all need a little outside perspective, because when we're in the middle of the funk, it can be hard to recognize certain things, right? Because we're kind of, with our head down, we can't see what's in front of us or what's around us. So when somebody else is bringing us a different perspective, that can be really, really helpful. All right, so I'm going to review the 6 steps again, and they go like this. So the first step is give yourself self-compassion, right? Allow yourself to experience the feelings and the thoughts, even write the thoughts down, pour it all out there. And then number 2 is to recognize that you get to create your own experience and you don't have to stay in that place. So ask yourself, how do you want to feel and how do you want to think in this moment? Then number 3 is to go back to gratitude, to take some deep breaths and really feel into the gratitude for the blessings that you have available, the things that are working, the things that are going well, and the potential things that you could learn from the experience that you're going through, the difficulty. Then step number 4 is to return to your vision. And return to your vision, again, what you want to have in your life in terms of your different aspects, your health, vocation, relationships, time and money freedom, and connecting with that future self that has the wisdom and has gone through the experiences, and she can then lend that wisdom to you in this moment. Then step number 5 is all about asking, what can I do where I am with what I have, to help you formulate that next indicated step to get unstuck. And then step number 6 is to seek out support from like-minded individuals, self-aware individuals, growth-oriented individuals, caring individuals that you know get you and care about you and will be able to, give you the truth, right? And give you some things to think about, some new perspective, as well as encouragement. All right. So those are the 6 steps. I hope that you will, next time that you do hit a funk, and if you're in a funk right now, first of all, my heart goes out to you. Know that I am here and that I care. And of course, you can always reach out to me as well. And I hope that you engage these steps. I hope that this has served you. And I will see you next time for another edition of Thrive Thursday next week. And until I see you again, remember that a mom is a woman first. See you on the next one.